So in this video, let's go ahead and see how to add a few properties to the existing entities and how to go about the migration. Now the vehicle property has all the vehicle entity has all the properties required. So let's just go ahead and add an age property in the priest first. We'll look about the remaining things later. So I'll come back to our application, and if you see the priest here, we have just 3 properties. And most importantly, I do have the database here now with all the data here. So for this time, I want to ensure that it throws an exception first, and then we'll see what to do about it. So let's say I add a property called age, okay, and I'll try and run this application. But before that, since I wanted to be able to view the exception completely, I'll run it in debug mode and as well in the setup data. When we have an exception there, I would want you to see the full exception. So I'll put a breakpoint here. So let me run that. So obviously now the priest table on the database does not have the age column. So I'm expecting it to throw an exception. Let's see what happens. Yeah. So if I place a quick watch on the exception just to view it better. So this is the thing. Okay, in fact you can copy this. So it says the model backing the temple context has changed since the database was created, and consider using code first migrations, and it also gives you a link for the documentation from Microsoft. So let's just close this and I'll run this application now. I get the same thing in my status also. So let's close this application for now and let's see how to go about the migration. Okay. So the first step would be to come to the package manager console, and through a command I would want to enable migrations, and the command for that is enable migrations. Now if I do this and say enter, it will go ahead and create all the infrastructure required for migrations, but it will just dump them in the root of the project, which I don't want to. Remember I told that we will have all our data related files in the data folder, but outside the entities, so at the root of data folder. So if I wanted, I can just say, give an optional argument and say put all those things in the data migration. So let me go ahead and say enter. So it will do its job, and if you see here now, we have a migrations folder. Okay, and there is a configuration class. So if you see here, now most of the times we would not have to meddle with this. Like I said, migration is mainly for the framework to make sure that it keeps the database and models in sync with each other. So for a moment, let's just ignore these 2 files. We will take a look at them later, but at this point we are still not ready with the migrations. We only enabled the migration required infrastructure. How do I know that? Now if you run this application, you will get the same error saying that the model and the database, they don't sync basically. So let's see what to do. In order to enable a migration, so you have this command called add migration. So as usual, you just go to the package manager and give the add migration, and you can optionally, you can give a name for it, which optionally stands for what you are trying to do. So in this case, what is it that we try to do? We say age added. Let's keep it simple, and I'll click on enter. So now it will add a migration for our database. Let's wait for it to be done. Once it is done, we should see the package manager console. Yeah, it's back. Now if you have any errors or if there is any data loss possible, you will get the suitable messages, but more often than not you will have no issues here. In case there are any issues with creating an automated migration, there are chance you can go and customize this. Anyway, we will not be discussing those because there are very unlikely situations. So let's come here. So this was the new file added. You see here, age added. So everything in C# is object oriented, right? So even this, it created a class for us which inherits from DB migration, and these are the up-down methods. If you see here, all it is trying to tell the database that, okay, look, the models have changed. You just have to go ahead and add an age column to your priest table, and it is of data type is integer and nullable is false. So that is what we did with this migration. So if this migration was not there, we had to write script for this manually to change any existing databases. And I'll talk about this nullable in a while, but just look at these up and down functions. So basically, whenever you create a migration, and let's say you deploy it into the production or test environment, and if at all you seem to have any issues with it and you just want to roll back to the previous version of the database, you can do that through package manager commands also. You can just down migrate the database. This is a very, very powerful feature of Entity Framework migrations. Now just imagine here I just added one property to priest. Now in real time, when the application is being processed and you are changing the project for some specific requirement, it is very unlikely that you just have one simple change. You will have a series of changes, and you will see a series of respective statements in the up method, and you don't have to remember to make a note of all those things. You don't have to worry about the order in which they are executed on the SQL Server. Now all these things will be converted to actual SQL statements when the migration runs on the real database, even though it looks like it is actually a method of DB migration. See all this add column, it is all a method of the DB migration, and these are all arguments to that, and this is like lambda expressions basically which goes into this method, and inside this DB method add column, if you see, it will have the code to generate the required SQL queries, or if you are using Oracle or if you are using SQLite, MySQL, it will just write the queries accordingly. You don't have to worry about writing it to a specific database. And after deployment, if you just feel that something did not go right and you just want to roll back, again, you do not have to worry about what scripts you need to write to the database and in what order you need to do them in order to return the database back to a stage where it was before you updated this. So you can think of, this is roughly comparable to version control of source code. Just like source code, you have version control where you do not worry about all the changes you have done, your colleagues have done, and merge them together, and if something goes wrong, again you will have to delete all those things manually. It's not possible also to manually keep track of all the source code changes. Similarly, when you are working with large projects in large teams, without migrations, it becomes a major challenge to remember all the changes with not only your team members are doing, and also roll back when the need arises. So I would say this is one of the strongest features of using code first migration in Entity Framework. Now let's see what happens now that we've added this migration. Let me try to run this. I actually should now get another error. So because even though we've applied the migration, but who will be telling Entity Framework to run this migration? Now there are two ways for it. In the package manager, I can say update database. So the command goes like this. But I don't want to go that route because I want to show you how this can happen automatically in, let's say, a customer machine in production environment where you don't have a Visual Studio hooked up always there. This all has to be done through code, not through Visual Studio. If you just say update database, this migration runs and it creates the respective age columns in the priest. But I don't want to go that route. I want to take another route where the application itself is smart enough to run the migrations if at all it is required, and appropriately take some actions on it. So that we will see in the next video.